Hello and welcome to the O'Donnell Middle School's 2021 Virtual Veterans Day Assembly. My name is Caitlin Valair and I am an 8th grade social studies teacher here at the middle school. I have been very privileged and honored to be a part of the Veterans Day Assembly and to ensure that it continues through these trying COVID times. Before we go any further, I would ask that you all please stand for the national anthem, which will be sung to us by our wonderful OMS chorus.
Oh, say, can you see what an orderly light, what so proudly we held at the twilight's last gleam, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, for the ramparts we watched, were so gallantly streamed, and the rockets' red glare, the bombs bursting in air, they flew through the night, where our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Veterans Day is celebrated every November 11th because it was on November 11th, 1918, that an armistice was signed to officially end World War I, which at that time was the biggest war ever. Although World War I aimed to be the war to end all wars, unfortunately, it would soon be followed by World War II and the Korean War. So as a result, in 1954, there was a motion to open up the holiday, that the original date of November 11th would be maintained, but instead of honoring only our World War I veterans, that the holiday should honor every single veteran who has ever served in America. So going as far back from World War I to the American Revolution, every single veteran who has served this country, whether it was during a time of war or peace, we give our sincerest thanks to all of our veterans for their commitment to this country. America may not be perfect. We may have many flaws and issues, but it is without argument that if our veterans were not willing to put their lives on the line for us, we would not have the rights and freedoms and safety that we do today. So I am truly honored to be a part of this ceremony. I cannot thank all of our participants enough. You are going to hear from a variety of veterans who live among you. They are your first responders. They are your neighbors. They are your friends. And these veterans are going to teach you a little bit about the military, its impact on their lives. And they will also send along some reminders about what Veterans Day is really all about. So please listen closely and listen to learn. There's a lot for you to take away from today's wonderful assembly.
Douglas Wall. I'm a patrol officer here in Stoughton. I have been for about 3 years now. Before becoming a police officer, I served 5 years in the United States Marine Corps. I was on active duty. I served as a V-22 crew chief, so I flew around in the back of a helicopter/airplane. I did 2 deployments. I did a MU, which is a Marine Expeditionary Unit, whereas stationed or is attached to a Navy boat, vessel, however they want to describe it. For 7 months, I spent at sea. I went to Rome, multiple spots in Africa, a small island chain called Seychelles, which is like a 5-star French resort, all free of charge. I kind of just rode along with the Navy. After that deployment, I came back. I went to Afghanistan for just over 8 months. Came back from that, and then shortly after that, I got out of the Marine Corps and came home. What has the military, or what does it mean to me? It's it means a lot of things. I went in a little bit older than most people. I went in when I was 21 years old. Um, it taught me a lot of discipline. Um, taught me how to, be on time for everything. In fact, it's usually being early for everything. Um, how to overcome struggles that you may not necessarily think that you'd be able to, but uh, putting on a positive smile for that and just plowing ahead to overcome certain obstacles. I have innumerable amount of friends from that I spread across the country. It's also paid for a lot of things that they tout, hey, they'll pay for your schooling and everything like that. I got my bachelor's degree from Bridgewater State University with no student loans whatsoever. I have no student debt. Um, I bought a house here in Stoughton using the VA loan, um, which has allowed me to do a lot of things with my house that I didn't think at this point I'd be able to do. And um, it's made me accomplishing my dreams a little bit easier than I expected. Overall, it was one of the greatest things I've ever done with my life. There's so many crazy experiences that I have, especially flying in the back of a helicopter, which not everybody gets to do in their life. Um, the places I've been, the people I've met, and created friendships with. So, in all, the military means so much more than just a uniform or a day in the year. It's something that will live with me for the rest of my life. And Veterans Day kind of just brings it all to a head because I usually get to reach out to everybody that I'm still friends with and kind of touch base, and I can do that whenever I want. But Veterans Day is just that much more special because we all kind of reminisce and go back on our times.
How you doing? I'm Jen Sullivan. I went to Stoughton High. I graduated in 2000. So I joined the Marine Corps, but I didn't go in the Marine Corps until probably, I think I was 20 or I was 20 years old. So I went to college first, realized college wasn't really for me. And I figured if I'm going to go in the military, I might as well pick the hardest one. So I did that. And it taught me how to gave me confidence, and I knew I wanted to be a police officer too. So obviously physically that helped me a lot. When I was in the Marine Corps, I worked actually like in an office. So I did a lot of like typing and so kind of helped me as a police officer too, because there's a lot of reports writing that you have to do. So that actually helped me too. And yeah, like I said, it gave me a good confidence, and I was happy to do it.
Hello, everybody. My name is Brandon Lima. I'm a Stoughton native, graduated from Stoughton High School in 2014. After Stoughton High School, I enlisted in the United States Marine Corps, where I served 4 years with the 2nd Light Armored Reconnaissance Battalion. After that, I left that and I signed a 6-year contract with the Rhode Island Army National Guard. So right now I'm with the 143rd Airborne Infantry. The military has impacted me a lot, made me mature at a very young age when most of my friends were in college. And doing all that stuff, I was training and serving the country, going overseas and stuff. But it's very important on Veterans Day to say thank you to veterans. A lot of people don't know what a lot of veterans gave up in sacrifice for this country and for you. It'd be very nice if you just say thank you and just think of them on Veterans Day.
Hi, my name's Mike Pazyra. I'm the Veterans Officer in the town, and Ms. Valair asked me to say a few words about Veterans Day and our experiences. I enlisted in the Marine Corps way back in 1973. I joined the Marine Corps, and I served for 2 years. I was stationed at the Marine Barracks in Washington, D.C., and it was mostly a ceremonial platoon, and Marines from that base, that station, did White House duty, Camp David duty. You'll see pictures on TV with President Biden or other dignitaries, and there's usually a Marine in the background. So that's the kind of things that we did where we were stationed. We all pretty much looked alike. We had to be the same height, same weight, because it was a ceremonial platoon, and it was really, really good duty. I learned a lot of things when I was in the Marine that really have helped me, carry forward in life. Discipline, not just discipline, but just a way of thinking of things. Always being positive. And that's the kind of thing people can get for being in the military. I'm not encouraging any of you to go or not to go in the military. But what I am saying is the veterans that have served, they do deserve your respect. A lot of the things, the freedoms that you have, the things that you take for granted, they have had it has everything to do with those who came before you. We all stand on the shoulders of those who came before us, and especially on the shoulders of veterans. We see things now with which you probably wouldn't realize. We have a very severe declining veterans population. Not that many kids serve now. Less than 1% of our country actually serves in the military now. That includes active duty and the guards and the reserves. This is such a low number because the draft ended in 1973. We're an all voluntary force now. And the veterans population as a whole has decreased now to 5% in the country with the passing of all of our World War II veterans, Korean veterans, and even now, my age, Vietnam era veterans. We're all getting older now too. So for the veterans that are around, we owe them a great deal of gratitude for everything that we have. So that's what I would leave you with. So if you see a veteran, say thank you on Veterans Day, and I wish you all a happy Veterans Day.
The next veteran we'll hear about is Bill Healey. Mr. Healey is a police officer with the Stoughton Police Department. He served in the military with the Air Force from 1984 until 2015. He was on active duty for 10 years and then was a traditional Air Guard jet engine mechanic for 21 years. As a mechanic, he worked on the B-52, KC-135, C-5, F-15, and C-130J aircrafts. He's been deployed to Panama, Iceland, Turkey, Saudi Arabia, and Okinawa. And he's had temporary duty travel stateside in Delaware, Mississippi, and Illinois. He retired as an E-7 Master Sergeant with the Air Force. He wants students to know that on Veterans Day, it's important to honor all those who have served our country. Service members have given their life while serving to protect our freedoms, he said. Many 18, 19, and 20-year-old people have died while serving to protect Americans and our way of life. He said he is very proud to have served in the Air Force for 31 years. Thank you, Mr. Healey, for your service to our country.
Hi, my name's Officer Stephen McNamara. Some of you may recognize me. I used to work at the middle school myself. I am not technically a veteran, but I did spend 5 years in the Massachusetts National Guard, so I figured I'd tell you a little bit about that. So I decided I wanted to become a police officer. I went around to the towns surrounding Stoughton and asked, what are some things that would be a good requirement to achieve to get this job today? And they told me that a good way to do it would be to have at least an associate's or a bachelor's degree and also military experience. I knew that I wanted to come back to Stoughton at some point and, help out in my own community. So I found out that there was Massachusetts National Guard where I could actually pick my job instead of with an active military component. They kind of assign you a job instead, or at least your top three, and you don't really know what you're going to get at the end. So I decided to be military police officer. I went to the 772 it's out of Taunton. And my last rank there was an E4, which is a specialist. It's one rank under a sergeant. And I served there for about 5 years. And the last 2 years of that, I served here in Stoughton as a police officer. What I would say is the most important about Veterans Day is, some days we don't appreciate everything we have here in the country that we live in and the freedom that we have, and we're able to talk and say anything we want. And I think that's something very valuable. And just to thank a veteran, somebody who's defended that right to do, I think that's something very important. So just a simple thank you would go a long way with some people that really don't hear it that much over an entire year. And I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. Thank you for your time.
My country, 'tis of thee, sweet land of liberty. Of thee I sing, land where my fathers died, land of the Pilgrim's pride. From every mountain side, let freedom This is my song, a song for all the nations, a song of peace for lands of foreign mind. This is my home, the country where my heart is. Here are my hopes, my dreams, my holy shrine. But other hearts in other lands are beating. I sing for peace, for land and for mine. Oh, beautiful for spacious skies, for amber waves of gray, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, crown thy good with brotherhood from sea to shining sea.
My name's Officer Matthew Gada. I'm with the Stoughton Police Department. I am a veteran of the United States Air Force. I served in the Air Force from 2010 to 2016 on active duty. I got there right out of high school. I was stationed in Dover, Delaware, Kunsan Air Base, South Korea, and then Las Vegas at Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas. From Delaware, I deployed overseas to Qatar and the United Arab Emirates twice as a ground transportation specialist or vehicle operator, truck driver, however you want to word it, where we moved passengers and large military equipment. I'm now in the National Guard, the Air National Guard for New Hampshire at a Pease Air Force Base, where I am now a firefighter for the Air National Guard. We typically respond to aircraft emergencies and stuff like that. We have a few questions here that they have the veterans answering. One of them is, how did the military impact your life? It taught me how to become a functioning member of society, being given discipline and how to show respect to my elders and how leadership works and so on and so forth. It's made me a driven individual and helped me get to where I am today. Veterans Day, why it's important to me, it's important to honor your veterans, not specifically me, but some of us went to war and came back maybe missing limbs or something that they gave more than most or a lot of the veterans did. They gave their personal lives up and maybe even came home with some wounds, whether they're visible wounds or internal wounds. How can we and should we honor our veterans? I think Veterans Day is something that you don't necessarily have to run around and thank every single person, but honor your veterans and be thankful for what we have in such a great country here. And definitely Memorial Day is another important day where we thank the veterans that could not come home after serving our country. Thank you, guys. It's been an honor and a privilege.
Hi, boys and girls. My name is Roger Hardy. I am a resident of the town of Stoughton, and I'm also a sergeant here at the Stoughton Police Department. I joined the military in 1988, the U.S. Army, where I was stationed in Frankfurt, West Germany, which is now known as Germany. I was there to see the wall go down. After serving in Germany, I went to the first Persian Gulf War. Some of you may know it as Operation Desert Storm or Desert Shield. And I served over there as doing communications for an armored division, the 3rd Armored Division, otherwise known as Spearhead. Being a veteran is something that is pretty important to me. Like you, I think you should show respect to all veterans and thank them for doing what they did for this country, whether it was to go off and fight in the Vietnam War, World War II, Persian Gulf, whatever the case may be. They selflessly went overseas and fought for our freedoms. What Veterans Day means to me, it means to show respect for others who have given that sacrifice of their time, of their life. And what you can do on Veterans Day is just to thank somebody who is a veteran. I think it's important, and it goes a long way just to those who do. Some of the veterans in town, you wonder why the streets are named after, where you grew up, whatever street. Why is that street named that? It's probably because that person was a veteran, and he or she may have paid the ultimate sacrifice with their life for this country. So,
I'm Officer Isabel with the Stoughton Police Department, and I too am a veteran. I enlisted in the Army Reserves as a senior in high school, and I was in for almost 10 years. I got out in August of 2008. While I was in, I was a surgical tech, and I was attached to a medical unit. In 2001, during the terrorist attacks, I was actually deployed at that time over in Kosovo and Macedonia. So we ended up staying there a little bit longer until everything cooled down. And then I was deployed again in 2006. From 2006 to 2007, I was deployed in support of Operation Iraqi Freedom, and I was stationed in Tikrit, Iraq. I would not take back anything that I did with the military. I loved it. I loved the experience. It gave me confidence. I met people from every inch of the world, every walk of life. You learned how to really be a team and depend on each other and support each other, encourage each other, and leadership skills. At 17 years old, I was pretty sure that I knew everything there was to know about the world. However, I quickly learned that I didn't, and I learned how to be a leader. So I really enjoyed my time there. And here I am now with a great background in order to get this job, and obviously realized I didn't want to do anything in the medical field. So I switched over to police, and having that background with medical gives me the opportunity if I wanted to switch up again, or, it's helped me here. We still do medical things being police officers, and I have that knowledge to fall back on.
Okay, my name is Joseph Paul DeVito, and I'm 95 years old, and I'm a proud resident of the town of Stoughton. In fact, I'm an original townie. So I graduated from Stoughton High School, and with my 5 buddies immediately after graduation, we all enlisted in the service. I went into the Navy with one of my buddies, and 3 of them went into the Army, and one of them went into the Air Force. So we all were ready to serve our country and do what at the time was expected of most boys our age. That immediately after graduation, we were going to go into service. A lot of my classmates left in junior year of high school, in fact. They were so eager to get into service and do their part. So then I reflected, knowing that this interview was coming up, and I talked to a good friend of mine who was also a veteran, and asked him about what he had learned while he was in the service. I thought it'd be helpful, and so he came in with some ideas, and I had my own ideas, and we both agreed teamwork. We figured that we were trained to do a specific job, and we did it the best we could. But we're only part of the complete team, and whatever we did affected the whole team. And a lot of lives were dependent upon everybody doing what they were trained to do, and take orders and from the higher ups who supposedly knew what we had to do. Sometimes they did. Most of the time they did. Sometimes they didn't. But I learned a lesson then, and I said, teamwork applies to all facets of life, whether you're teachers or whether you're in industry or whatever. You have to do the job that's required. And as a testimony of that is Bill Belichick from the Patriots. Okay, he always says to his team, one of the best coached teams in the National Football League, do your job. You do your job, we'll be successful.
Hi, everyone. Happy Veterans Day. This is Nate Derby. I'm a sergeant with the Stoughton Police Department, and I'm also a veteran of the United States Coast Guard. The Coast Guard was an amazing experience for me. I spent 9 years of my life as both an active duty and a reserve member of the Coast Guard. I was stationed in Boston, and I was also stationed in California. I got to travel to Mexico while I was in the Coast Guard. I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about what it is to be a good American, and I was able to participate in some really interesting events. I think that Veterans Day is a very important day to remember the sacrifices that veterans have made over the years. There's been millions of veterans from the beginning of our country till now, and they've all signed up to go out and to defend our country, to help people, and their sacrifice of their time and their efforts is worth being remembered by the people in this country. Some people ask, how should I honor veterans on Veterans Day? Honestly, it's very nice when people say thank you for your service. However, I think the best thing that people can do to honor veterans is be a good citizen. Take care of the people around you. Stand up for our national anthem. Just do things that make this country better. And honestly, that is what will honor the sacrifices of veterans more than anything else. Saying thank you for your service is greatly appreciated, but being a good citizen and being a good American, honestly, really will make a better thank you for me personally than it would just someone shaking my hand. So thank you for everyone listening to my spiel about Veterans Day. If anybody has any questions about joining the military, specifically the Coast Guard, you can stop by the police station at 26 Rose Street. I work during the day, 8 to 4. If you want to call and ask to speak to me, I'll set up a time. I'll be happy to sit down and talk to you about why I think service in the military is important, and I'll be happy to talk to you specifically about the Coast Guard. So anytime, come by the police station or call the police station. We'll set up a time, and I'll be happy to talk to you. Once again, thank you for your time, and happy Veterans Day.
Hello, my name is Caitlin Valair, and I'm an 8th grade social studies teacher at the O'Donnell Middle School here in Stoughton. Unfortunately, COVID has prevented us from hosting our annual Veterans Day Assembly in person, but I am thankful to our local veterans, including many members of the Stoughton Police Department, who were kind enough to participate in our virtual assembly. As a teacher, my goal is to not only help students understand the importance of citizenship and patriotism, but also appreciate the multitude of rights and freedoms America provides. Veterans Day makes these concepts easy to teach, as our veterans personify the values of honor, courage, teamwork, accountability, and dedication. I am here today to highlight a veteran from the Stoughton Police Department who proves that these qualities, along with sacrifice and service, remain long after they return home from the military. Upon graduating from Stoughton High School, Matthew Gada enlisted in the United States Air Force. An active duty airman from 2010 to 2016, Matt was stationed at Dover Air Force Base in Delaware, Kunsan Air Base in South Korea, and Nellis Air Force Base in Las Vegas. He also deployed overseas twice to the United Arab Emirates as a ground transportation specialist. Today, Matt is a proud member of the Stoughton Police Department, which he has been serving for nearly 5 years. Matt is also currently a firefighter in the New Hampshire Air National Guard, where he responds to aircraft emergencies. Author Sidney Sheldon once said, "My heroes are those who risk their lives every day to protect our world and make it a better place. Police, firefighters, and members of our armed forces." In Matthew Gada's case, Sidney Sheldon would have found a triple threat superhero. Matt has shared that the Air Force taught him many important qualities, including discipline, respect, and leadership, and he truly illustrates each one of these on a daily basis. A great son, brother, friend, and coworker, Matt is an outstanding member of the Stoughton community. Whether he is visiting the multiple elementary schools in town, raising funds for the Stoughton Police Association, or helping with local drives and fundraisers, Matt is a visible and valuable force. Matt even took it upon himself to reach out to a young Stoughton native who he had learned recently joined the Air Force. Checking on the young man during basic training, Matt wrote genuine letters of encouragement and advice to him, adding mentor and confidant to his own list of personal strengths and character. This Veterans Day, the words of John F. Kennedy mean more than ever. As we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not to utter words, but to live by them. I have no doubt that if more Americans demonstrated the attitude, integrity, compassion, and dedication of Matthew Gada, our community, country, and world would be a much better place. Matt, congratulations on being the O'Donnell Middle School's 2021 Veteran of the Year, and thank you for your continued service to Stoughton and the United States. In addition to getting a nice plaque, we thought you might like some new Stoughton swag. So
Thank you so much.
That's there you go.
Appreciate that.
Thank you all so much for coming. I appreciate it. This is something I know he's probably mortified to be receiving, and having all of you show up is making it that much better for me. But thank you for everything you've done, and thanks again to all of you for showing up today.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
That's it. That is going to conclude our assembly for this year. I would like to give a few enormous thanks first to Miss Betty Bowman and the OMS Chorus for participating and adding such wonderful music to our program. I would also like to give a huge shout out to Detective Sheanna Isabel of the Stoughton Police Department, who is a wonderful ally and partner in this ceremony, helping me get many veterans to speak. Speaking of the veterans, thank you to Doug Wall, Jen Sullivan, Brandon Lima, Mike Pazyra, Bill Healey, Stephen McNamara, Matthew Gada, Roger Hardy, Sheanna Isabel, Joseph DeVito, and Nate Derby for your time and willingness to keep this Veterans Day Assembly going. And finally, a big thank you to Mr. Jeff Pickett, who has spent countless hours helping me assemble this video and present it to all of you. So thank you once again. I wish you all a happy Veterans Day, and don't forget what it's all about. Thank you.